I came to the rainforest and I have stayed here for 3 years because I adore it. It's a very personal relationship. To me, it has meant, and still means, a nourishment for my spirit. That, I know that sounds so cheesy. That's why it took me so long to answer the question. I mean, it may sound silly, but it provides me with sustenance that I can't get anywhere else. It has so much life to offer. I'm amazed. After 3 years, I continue to be amazed by it every day. So I guess I had to hesitate before answering because I don't know if it sounds contrived or cliche, but it's about as important to me and about as genuine as a love for the natural world can get. I mean, I put up with things that other people simply wouldn't. Rashes, insects, humidity. I found a lot of times that, this place that has been just, that this place, hi, how you doing?
It's okay, keep going.
I find that, a lot of times this place that has been so...
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Elevational?
Okay, keep
Empowering.
going.
I found that here, this place that has been so empowering for my soul and my spirit has actually many times left my body at war with the elements. But I can't, I wouldn't have it, I still won't leave, I won't, having a swollen head from a reaction to mangoes, which are incidentally in the poison ivy family, doesn't send me scurrying away. It's like wow, this is going to sound really strange. It's like a relationship with another person. You put up with all the crap because everything else is just so great and it's so good for you, and it makes you a better person and it keeps you going, that you stick with it and it changes you. It makes you, when you found the right thing, it makes you become all of the things that you wanted to in your whole life. That's what it's meant to be. God, that sounds stupid.
Okay. Describe Panama City for me.
Oh, Panama City. Wow. Panama City is... Wow. It's,
Actually, let's wait for this part.
Contradictions.
Whenever you're ready.
It is a refreshing blend of sort of contradictions.
Actually, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Panama City is sort of a refreshing blend of contradictions. I think that, so once America left, it's sort of it's in a new state. It's in a sort of a fledgling state. And, along with that comes sort of an inherent identity crisis. There's still a lot of pull towards being very American and how great that is. And there's also a lot of forces that say that Panama has its own rich culture, tradition, sense of self. And so there's sort of a push against being little America. And I've never had any problems there. I mean, there must be crime because there's dudes in every parking lot wanting to take care of your car, wanting to look out for it so nothing happens to it. And I actually did know someone that had her car stolen, but it was recovered after a few months. So there's a lot of the contradictions. It's really interesting. When you go into town, especially if you go into like older parts of town and you want to see the old buildings and the architecture and invariably you'll get approached by some tourist police, and they have this like special branch of the police just for tourism, and they ride around their bikes basically like sort of telling tourists not to go past this block, or they'll even give you a map and then they'll X out the parts on it where they don't want you to walk because it may be dangerous. But maybe, like I said, I've been here for 3 years. I walk around the city a lot at night by myself. I've never had a problem. Maybe it's just unsightly. Maybe they don't want tourists seeing tenements or poverty. Or maybe they are just genuinely concerned. Who knows? But the people who are friendly are actively friendly. They approach you. They talk to you. They'll tell you great places to go. They'll give you directions. They'll, I've been part of sort of the running club here, and people are just fantastic. They want to get together and go for group runs, and they're actually really organized, and they have lots of little races in the city, and everyone who comes out is just so supportive and so friendly, and the friendly people are just actively so. But anyone, with my experience, is only my own personal experience. I have no idea what anyone else's, the other individuals' take on this would be, but the people who have not been friendly have not been aggressively unfriendly. They've not gone out of their way to be unfriendly. It's more just like my presence is unpleasant or annoying or undesirable, and so they kind of just don't really even want to acknowledge me at all. So, the worst I've experienced in terms of people, and the only reason I even mention the worst is because there's also the best, and I guess people sort of talk about cities in terms of crime, whatever, is, if I'm walking down the street and I see some people, and if I smile at them, the worst I've ever encountered is having people not smile back and having them like roll their eyes and walk on.
So tell me about like Casco Viejo and like the area that's sort of old and beautiful and blah, blah.
One of the coolest parts of the city, the one that everybody likes to go to and see when they're here, and rightly so, is Casco Viejo. And it's an older part of the city, and that's a really interesting blend. There are a lot of really poor people there, but also, so there's really old buildings, and there's interesting architecture that's beautiful and old, that a lot of it's being unused. Then there's a lot of it that is sort of being renovated, and then there's also just full on, apartment building sized shacks, basically. They're just buildings that are, huge buildings that are just leaning and are really going to fall over any moment, and people live in them. So apparently the owners just, decided they didn't want to deal with it, and so no one technically owns these things anymore, and people are actually squatting in them. So it's doubtful they have electricity or water, but they live in these buildings. I mean, just tons of them all piled up. And that, okay.
Okay, that's good. I'm actually going to go to another thought.
Okay.
Which is sort of what's the sort of the emotion or the feeling or and it can be one or more, just the sort of feeling that you get out of Panama City. Like, what kind of a city is it?
It's a city that's in a really big hurry to relax. That's what it is. I mean, it's a city where I think my friend and former boss, Andrea, had a really accurate assessment of the way people drive. And it's that you're driving in this city where it feels like it's just an entire city full of driving of 16-year-old drivers who just freshly got their licenses. I mean, they're just flying everywhere as fast as they can with very little disregard. Okay, no disregard for, or no regard for any of the of signs or lines on the road, which kind of don't matter anyway, because a lot of times the signs themselves are vestigial and have no function whatsoever. But anyway, so there's a lot of that. But as soon as people get where they're going, all of a sudden, no hurry anymore. You know, we're what is I don't know what the feeling I get is. I also get the feeling that it is very okay. I get the feeling that generally it is for travelers user friendly. There's a lot of people here who speak English. Just about everywhere you go, people are going to speak some English. And everything is written in English.
It's like certain adjectives that come to mind, just like if we were playing the sort of whatever that game is, where like I say this and you say, and the first thing that comes to mind is, so if I say Panama City,
well, I would say user friendly for travelers, but that also makes it in many ways less exotic. What comes to mind is
fast
the meeting of minds. I mean, the meeting of differences. I mean, the noise, old buildings, and new money, an appreciation of pretty places. I mean, when you go into the city, I just started thinking of words again. When you go into the city, when you come upon a little place that's on the waterfront, where the city has built a little trellis and flowers, people hang out there. They like to talk. They like to kiss. They like to look at the water, and you can see the skyline from there, or the causeway, which is a big causeway that was built from dredging the canal. You can see the skyline from there, and the water. The sun sets over the Bridge of the Americas, and there's people just out enjoying the sunset, enjoying the breeze, enjoying each other, and there's a real appreciation for the fact that this is the tropics and the weather is mostly lovely. Okay.
It's good.
When they're running to their air-conditioned cars, and it's the same way when it rains. You know, they'll stand on the doorstep and wait for someone to come get them, and then they'll rush 10 feet with an umbrella as though it were a complete surprise that it was going to rain that day, even though it has every day for the past 4 months. So.
Okay, I'm going to go on to another question.
Okay.
And give me just in a complete, short, sweet sentence that whole like birding statistic, like, oh, there's so many birds here. It's like the 24-hour bird count or whatever that shit
I don't know. I don't want to tell you because I should know more, but I don't.
Give me just an idea that there are so many birds here, and just really super short and sweet.
Okay. I'm lucky enough to work on Pipeline Road. I'm just going to start over because I keep drifting off. I keep thinking of new things or more different things. Okay.
And it doesn't even need...
Yeah.
It's best if you don't even refer to Pipeline Road, because that just is kind of like a detail. But just here, where we're at,
okay. Well, I mean, yeah. It's kind of the only statistic I know. I'm lucky enough to get to work in these woods and in this area and on Pipeline Road, which actually holds the record for the most, the highest number of species counted in 24 hours. So, a lot of... And
bird-wise.
Bird-wise.
Okay, say that one more time.
Okay, sorry. Ooh, I'm here.
I'm
this
sorry,
area,
look right into the lens.
I do a lot of work with birds, and this area is actually It is rich with bird species. It is known for bird species.
Hold on.
One of the areas where I get to work, just about every day, holds the record for the highest number of bird species counted in 24 hours. So there's the diversity of birds is just huge, but the other great thing about it is that the birds themselves are showy and gorgeous and large. So I see, regularly in my backyard, commonly, I see 3 different kinds of toucans. I see 3 different kinds of trogons, 2 kinds of motmots, parrots, at least 2 different kinds that fly over every night, wake me up in the morning in a big tree. And for everyone that owns parrots, let me tell you something about parrots. They fly a lot. So everybody who owns a tropical bird and it's in your cage at home and you've somehow convinced yourself or the people around you that that's all they would do anyway in nature is just sort of sit around and try to mimic noises that they hear, they fly constantly. All day long, they just make huge circles of this region. And they're group birds. They're social birds. They're not loners. They hang out together in these huge flocks, and they're all paired up. They all have a mate, and it's just kind of, I love to see them so much, and it breaks my heart to know that they are so commonly alone in cages. Sorry, I don't mean to get on my soapbox, but
okay.
A lot of... I'm just gonna do it. You're hooked. There we go. Oh, a bus. The time barefoot, and then I'll come in to use the weight room, so they all know me. So now not only am I the little girl that goes running barefoot and comes in to use the weight room, I'm now sitting here with a camera.
So tell me about doing like what you were saying, like kind of nature walks, like just kind of walking while you're working or not while you're working, and just kind of observing. And what's that like?
That is like, okay. So the forest has a lot to offer, but it does it on its own time. So basically, I have seen so much stuff, but it is because I'm in the forest constantly. During my job, less and less so not during my job because I work in it so much, but just walking through the forest, sitting in the forest, being quiet, waiting for things, waiting to see things. That's the way. That's the way eventually you just start to experience the wildlife there. Things will, like coatis, that are foraging in big groups, families of them, and their little noses are underneath the leaf litter, digging up grubs and such. They won't notice me. I've been out netting. I've been out putting up a net to net birds, and so I'll be standing by a tree or something with my net, and you can hear which direction they're coming because you can hear the leaf litter rustling a bit. So, twice now in my 3 years, I've actually heard them coming towards me, and I've just stood really still, as still as I could, which is really hard because there's a lot of mosquitoes. And eventually the whole family just right by me moves along, doesn't even notice I'm there. And that's happened twice in 3 years, so it's a lot, but I've had to go out almost every day of my life for 3 years to have it happen. Anyway.
Can you hold on?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, go ahead.
So, fortunately for me, I get to do jobs that have involved both walking through the forest on transects, that involve sitting in the forest at various times, and also jobs following things and observing them, which sort of often involves just sort of moving around at a very slow pace. And those are really, they're just the best types of jobs. The job for the butterflies involved walking.
Actually, I'm going to stop you. Because I'm not going to see you doing butterfly stuff. But what I have seen you do is just kind of walk through the forest.
Right.
And when you're maybe not working. And that you come upon things.
Okay. Well, you were also, no, because the only time you've actually seen me walk through the forest is when we were working.
Yeah, but
that's what I do. A lot of the projects I just get to walk through the forest for any variety of reasons to collect data. So from point A to point B, or whether it's observing one thing at a slow pace, I get to just be in the forest. And you can just find, I've rarely seen snakes. I've found snake skins, which you won't see. I've found snake skins across the path, which lets me know that on that path there has been large fer-de-lance. I can just get to see really great stuff during my work day, and of course not. And when I'm not working, if I'm working, I'll carry a backpack. If I'm not working, I'll carry my camera. And it just gives me the opportunity. There's some parrots finally coming. They're going to fly over in a minute and squawk like hell. I just get, yes. It's like little treasures for which you don't have a map. You walk along randomly and things present themselves. It's not consistent, but that kind of makes it all more fun.
That was perfect. It was perfect. Go ahead.
My favorite animal has to be the sloth. I'm really partial to the sloth. They are, mostly because my mom used to sing me a song about sloths when I was little. And it was a funny song, and she had fun singing it. So basically, when I came to the tropics and I knew we were going to, in fact, see the three-toed bradypus, of which I had heard so many verses about, I was really excited about it. And eventually, finally you see one. And they have a good sense of humor. I mean, these animals are unmistakably and unintentionally humorous. They've got big bulbous asses, and they move extremely slow, at a slower pace than you think possible, and it makes you sort of antsy and you're watching them, but they've got like a really dopey smile on their face, and huge nails, and they'll just sort of scratch their belly in really slow ways. So I was psyched when I first saw the sloth. And of course, also, because they're so slow, when you do finally, with other animals, you get to see them, and they're gone, and then you feel like blessed that they gave you that, like, split second of their time. But sloths, you see them, you got a good show. I mean, they're going to be there for a while. You can go get your friends, go get your camera, come back, they'll still be hanging around. They're really cool. And then if they throw you a little smile, then you're set.
Okay, so what's the sloth song? You're not going to get by with mentioning it.
No, the sloth song requires a guitar, so there will be no singing of the sloth song.
What is the white-faced capuchin? And use it in a full sentence. The white-faced capuchin is...
The white-faced... Okay. The white-faced capuchin is a New World monkey.
I'm going to have you do it one more time.
Without clapping?
Yes.
Right in front of the microphone. The white-faced capuchin. Okay. The white-faced capuchin is a New World monkey with a prehensile tail. They're awfully cute little guys. They're not as relaxed as the howler monkeys. Howlers are slow and hang out and very chill, and they're not as squirrely as tamarins, which are really quite neurotic. The capuchins are kind of in between, so kind of a medium-sized monkey with like a white a white breast area and a white face. Okay. And they also like to put on quite a show. They will, when you encounter a troop of them, the males will start screaming at you, and they'll hop up and down and break off sticks to throw them, which is actually pretty considerate, considering what other monkeys like to throw instead. So twigs and leaves are a pretty good deal. Yeah, they're funny little guys. They've got really interesting pink faces, which makes them look all the more human.
Okay, now what about the howler, and specifically the little howler girl that we saw yesterday?
Howlers. So yeah, howlers are also New World monkeys with prehensile tails. They're black all over, except for the male has a big, huge white ball sack because I guess that would attract
Okay.
a female.
No more.
Oh.
You're killing me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the males, and it's a showy thing. It's to attract females. It's a totally black monkey with a big white ball sack.
And what about the female that we saw?
We saw a female with a very white cloacal area, and which I hadn't seen, and actually no one has discussed, but it was clearly present. It was a clear and present danger. Yeah, so I guess it works transversely too. I mean, if it's not just the women, the females, who are doing the selecting in this scenario. But they're really cool monkeys to watch because they're just really chill. They don't sometimes. Oh, it's really magnificent if you do get them riled up to hear them howling, to hear them do what they do. If there's enough of them around and they're riled up enough, it is thunderous and just outstanding. But usually they'll just keep chewing leaves. So you're looking at them, they're hanging out, they're dangling in various like lackadaisical positions and just looking so as if everything's going to be all right.
Okay, very good. And now the last question, which is, so why is the work and the work that you're doing here, and it's not like the scientists, their work is important, but why is your work important? Like, it's not, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to say, oh, the scientists that I work with, well, their work is important. I mean, because you're involved deeply in that same work. So why is this work important? And, like, what does it mean to science and the world and yada, yada, yada?
Why is my work... Okay. I'm happy about, beyond just what I do, I'm happy about potential impact for what I do because mostly out of, this is a weird question. Okay. When I think about what I do, I think about not only how happy it makes me, but also the potential of it, the impact, the consequences. I'm pretty low on the totem pole, which is where I like it. I've found where my strengths are, and it's going into the field. So people have projects, and they kind of know what needs to be done. Sometimes they appreciate advice and suggestions from somebody who is here constantly, all the time, and knows about this area and the forest. And that's always nice, to feel like I've contributed a little bit more than just collecting data.
Let's hold so this far.
Okay.
Okay.
They also, their projects, what I contribute to the project is know-how, is trustworthiness, reliability, and savvy. They know that I'm going to pay attention to the right details, and that I will withstand conditions to collect what they need for the project. They can feel comfortable that I'm comfortable in the environment, in the surroundings, and that I can get the work done.
Okay.
And
so what about the projects that they're doing? Why are these projects important to you?
And so I really enjoy, luckily for me, I enjoy what I'm best at, and I guess vice versa. I enjoy contributing in that way to the projects. And the projects themselves are, there's a few different mindsets about it. And I'm of the one that really all biology is in a way, and God, some of the scientists here would just kill me for saying this, but for me, it seems like it's all conservation biology. Everything we know more about nature is helpful to the cause. It's helpful to keeping nature intact and around for the future generations, so that, you know, our great-great-grandkids won't have to, like, look up the rainforest on the internet. I mean, or experience a virtual rainforest. It's, or any of the other habitats that we need to keep around, wetlands, grasslands, everything. That's where I'm coming from, and like I said, some of the scientists would kill me for that. They're very specific about the fact that science is for learning and knowledge, and for science's sake, for the sake of science. But I, in the position I am as a field assistant, I have the liberty to feel like it's all for conservation, that it's all for the better understanding of our world. That's Stephanie. That's my new boss. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It's all for it's anything we know is helpful. Anything we know helps us.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's perfect. And do you feel like, this is the last question, is there anything I haven't asked you that you think you want to answer?
Oh, that's a good question.
That you think you want to talk about?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
What should I? I'm so glad I've been here. It does get dark early. It lets you sort of dedicate, you know, more evening hours. A little bit of the isolation and a little bit of the lack of sunlight helps you dedicate more hours to the things that you always said you would and didn't, like maybe practicing the guitar a little bit, doing a little bit of writing, and the consistency of the cycle of the days lends well to getting into the rhythm of things. So like basically a major part of my life here has been going running. It's perfect. It's really humid and it's very hot, but that's okay. And maybe that makes me a better runner, but I get to run. There's a nice paved road that goes towards town, and I get to run on this, you know, perfectly paved road. It's a little bit hilly, but I get to be in the forest at the same time. There's a lot of great shade, and I started to know each part of the forest in terms of being sort of when I'm running, I'm sort of in rhythm with the forest. The animals, there was a broad-winged hawk that would meet with me every day and sort of fly in little segments in front of me and then land again and wait. I was sort of in tune, a little bit more in rhythm with the forest during my running times in a different way than when I'm just observing. When I'm working or when I'm walking, I feel like I'm observing it. When I'm running, I feel like I'm part of it. And that's a nice feeling. Not to mention the fact that there's a little prison like a mile and a half down the road, and they have like a little how you doing? It's like a minimum security prison, and they have a little like fruit stand near the road, and there's like a little window. I mean, these guys could just leave. They could just walk out if they wanted to. But you know, clearly they're there to just, you know, do their time and get it over with or whatever. So there's a little window at the bottom of the hill near the road, and they sell cut up fruits and fruit juice, and they're so nice to me, in a extremely respectful way. I mean, so anyway, they always used to say hi. That was just a call to me as I was running by, and I kind of ignored them. I didn't mean to be rude, but you know, I'm sort of running in the middle of nowhere in the forest by myself, and dudes in a prison are like yelling to me from behind a big fence with razor wire. So I didn't really respond. And this went on for a really long time. And so one day I was out, and I had gone out. It was just really, really bad conditions. I had gone out for some reason at noon because I didn't have any other time that day, and I hadn't eaten. There's an agouti.
Where?
in the street, just walking right up the street. So this day there was this day it was just really extremely poor conditions. Too much heat, too little water, too much fatigue. It happens. I think I was running 16 miles that day. And as I was coming back to Gamboa, I was just lost. I was more exhausted and in pain than I've ever been during a run. And so I sort of staggered, swaggered, made my way over to the window and asked for water, thinking that they would sort of maybe hold up a hose for me. And they just sort of looked at me, and I've got salt caked all around, just white, huge patches of salt caked all over myself. And surely I was beet red and looked like I was about to just fall over. And just without a word, just nodded, got up. He had one of the guys had a cup that he had been drinking out of, went to the faucet, washed out his own cup, just in case, like as if I wouldn't take it if he didn't wash it out or something. Ran over to the cooler, pulled out a bottle of icy cold water, poured a huge glass of it, and came and handed it to me wordlessly, and allowed me just to stand there and drink it. And then finally I was done, and I was shaking, and he just said, "Está bien? Are you okay?" And I kind of nodded, and he took the cup for me, and he said, "Otro? Another?" I nodded. They were just, you could see that they were concerned about me, they were concerned for me more than they were curious. They weren't going to make jokes. It sounds like a potentially lame scenario with convicts chatting up a little pigtailed girl in basically what is a halter top and hot pants running down the road. But it was nothing like that. They became, after that day, my teammates and my pit crew and my number one supporters. They always have cold water and a big smile, and if I don't have time to stop, they'll just wave and cheer. Really good guys, and I'm glad that they're there. So that, in addition to running through the forest with the life that is around me, it has made this place wholly unique and more bizarre and spectacular than I would have ever thought was possible. So I couldn't have imagined it better if I had tried, probably. Yeah, everything about this place. I know that's a big question. There's a lot I could say. I've been here for 3 years. There's a lot I could say. I wouldn't trade this time for anything. I am so... This is all going to sound very whatever, but I am so thankful for being here, being able to live this life in this place. I miss my family. I miss them a lot. I wish that they could see this for themselves. In the meantime, I just have to describe it for them the best that I can. And eventually, I'm going to go home. Eventually, I will leave this place that has shaped my life in really good ways. But as great as it is, it's not my home. And eventually, I will go home. And I'll take all of this with me when I do.